So we are back, guys. So this is the animation, as I said, we did. See, these are just balls, but you can turn these balls into characters. So let's just pick one ball. Which ball do you pick? Okay, so animation as a career. If someone asks me if they should enter animation as a career, I can't give them a straight answer, but I'll give them this criteria for them to decide for themselves. But stability in as I was saying, stability in the animation field. Stability is like the field is like you get a job today or there's a project today. When the project is done, if the company is not doing any other animation projects, then they lay you off because you went there as a freelancer. You can be on a job for like for 2 years for one animation project, especially foreign countries. And then when the project of the company is done, you have to move to another company. And then the money they give you is like, okay, it can give you until you get onto another project. And so in order to be stable, no, you would have to be versatile. Another factor to consider when you want to go into animation. Reliability here in Ghana and the wages they give, the rates it's some way. The works are there, but you have to find it. As I said, you have to make yourself present and available. Let people know that this is what you do. So your presence online and the people you know is very important. And you have to consciously let people know that this is what you do. And if you're a person who doesn't like to change jobs and maybe you don't like to work with people that much, the animation field is not for you because it's a collaborative work. For a project, you need to call a friend, a colleague. If it's your project or if it's someone else's, you'll be called upon to do certain specific tasks. But you have to be very versatile. You have to learn certain things like it will be good as an animator to learn editing. It will be good as an animator to do illustrations because all these rules are involved in the animation process. So if there's a project going on and maybe the animation rules are covered, you can go in as maybe a storyboard artist and then how the animation is going on. If your storyboard was impressive, they can take you on as an animator. When you get to discuss the animation pipeline, you get to understand the various rules in the animation process. It's a whole lot. And the income, truth be told, the income for animation is very good. Your pay, let me show you the minimum wage outside, like for America. There is what we call the Animation Guild Association, and they have their minimum wages. And so if your company is employing you as an animator, they consult that chart to decide your wages. All right, so let's share this on screen. So for animation, actual animation, and other stuff. So you either get paid hourly or weekly. And this is it. So for Ghana here, you can be working in a reputable industry, but maybe your pay wouldn't be as much as this. So for the animators, they are great. You can go in as an intern. You can go in as a mid-level animator, and then you can go in as a professional animator, like high senior animator. And all these positions have their wages. You can see what they take outside. That's the animation field. When you go in and you do blue sky sketch, story sketch, apprentice animation, story person, or apprentice story sketch, this is what you can earn. This is the beginner, this is the mid-level, this area. And these works, you can get them online on a whole lot of platforms. You can work remotely from Ghana here. Go to Upwork, LinkedIn posts a lot of animation jobs. That gives you a fair idea of what you'd be expecting to earn if you enter into animation. Community. Ghana here, the community is very small. There are not many animators, so if you are in there, it's like demand and supply. So the community is small. You almost know everybody when you get into the community. You get to meet people online and to discuss with them and to share ideas. It's good to link up with fellow animators because sometimes you need help from them with projects. They will also call on you to help them in certain projects. So if you're idle, they communicate with you. Education. Unlike other careers, you don't need a higher education to do animation. You don't need a certificate. No one will ask you which school did you go, which animation school did you go, or where is your certificate. I've never gotten any employment. Honestly, I've never gotten any employment because of my certificate. And that's the same thing my lecturer told me back in school when I was doing my degree program. He said he had never gotten a job based on his certificate. No one ever asked him of his certificate. All they ask you is what you've done before, your last work especially, and then you show them your reel, then your charges. So you don't need any certificate to do animation. Even if you graduated in class one or you left school in class one, and you can prove your work or your skills, your talents, you get a job. You think animation is something you dedicate your time to. Animation could be your side hustle. So you can be focusing on one job and then be practicing your animation skills and posting them to show your work. And then when the opportunity comes, you can just jump ship or dive full time into animation. So whether you pursue animation as a serious venture or something you do part time, all boils down to you based on these analysis. So to the animation pipeline, we just did a very brief animation here, but I believe you will not go to Silverbird, go and watch this animation. It's too basic. What they show there is very complex and it takes much more time to do that. So what goes into animation? We finally found the pipeline. This is the pipeline they've been talking about. You see that it's very long. This is the pipeline the government has been talking about. So we are going to talk about the pipeline. So there in animation of even in filmmaking, there are three main stages. There's the pre-production, the production, and the post-production stage. I'll add a fourth stage to it, but basically there are these in the pre-production stage. Someone always has to sit down and say, "I have this idea, and let's go." Though if you have the idea, you have to develop the idea into what we call the script. So the scripting, all these stages are a whole department on its own. It will take to the concept, the script writers will come in. Then one we don't always focus much on is the box office, the money that people will invest in and the returns that they are expecting to get. This area in production, we have the hourglass shape. And this area represents here, this area represents production. And this area, I would say, would represent post-production. The post-production takes a lot of time. And if you don't have enough time for the pre-production, all these areas will be affected. The production stage is what most people focus on that, but in terms of importance, this area is, I would say, is even more important than here, just as the hourglass is showing. And then from the pre-production, it goes to the production stage. That's where you actually start working. Some people will classify the storyboard under pre-production. After the scripts have been developed, the script has to be visualized. The script is written, but the words have to be translated into visuals. So you get first visuals from here. In my creator projects, I have one storyboard I'm working on. This is an example of a storyboard. So if you look at the far right of your screen, you see that there are certain pictures and there are text attached to it. These are the descriptions. So for every shot, you describe the shots and then you have accompanying images. And the storyboard can be as detailed or as simple as you want it. So this is shot 52. Security guard steps in, then you have the dialogue. And so in this shot, you can read the description and you can read the dialogue also. So this is what the storyboard looks like. You take what the scriptwriter has written here in this area and you translate it into pictures. And then the sound design. And remember, as we go on, you will need the services of the editor throughout because when the storyboard is done, the story will be put together into sequences and sounds will be added. And then if you add storyboard and sound into video, then you have what we call the animatics. This is the process or the pipeline in animation. Use your choice. You still want to do actual animation, or you go into rigging, go into character design, illustrations, storyboard, and all that. Then we have the lightning. Those who do lightning. Those who do lightning. Just as you do lightning on an actual set, no. When you're going to take photos or things, no. You need to do lightning in a 3D environment. You need to put like virtual light in there. And that light will affect what you are seeing. If you don't do any lighting, you need to do anything when you render. And then finally, distribution. This too is another department. And now we have people who work in animation and their jobs is to just distribute. We have outlets, channels you can distribute to, like Netflix. You can go into a contract with Netflix and they will distribute your work for you. You can go in contact with the theaters, or there are people who just go around for works for films and animations. So all these are departments you can work in the animation field. All these are departments you can work in. So if you are going into animation, don't make up your mind that, oh, since I'm doing animation, this area, that's where I'm interested in. You can also start learning these concepts of script writing, sound scoring, sound design, even editing. The last part I wanted to talk about as part of the pipeline is merchandising, which is very, very lucrative. The making of toys and apparels with animation characters. I think Ghana here is an opportunity we are not exploring because our animation industry is not that advanced. But if you should go into animation merchandising, you get a lot of money making toys.